Panos Breveduras, and we are here at the last day of the second International Symposium on Freeway Operations. We had a very special lunch actually that was spearheaded by the Hawaii Highway Users Alliance, and we were so fortunate, in addition to our members, to have Alan Pisarski, a noted international consultant on transportation issues, and Bob Poole, who is also a presidential advisor. We were honored to be joined by Lieutenant Governor Aiona. We talked a lot about our transportation issues here, and particularly, of course, congestion, how much congestion costs to business and people, why the situation is so terrible here, and what can we do about it, and how badly we are doing compared to other states. And in many respects, the conclusion came that our public institutions are not doing a good job at it. And some people mentioned, for example, the bridge collapse in Minnesota, that in 2 months they got the contract and in 9 months they got the bridge repaired. And here we're laughing around the table that it would have taken 2 years just to get the contract out. So this kind of sluggish reaction to our real issues that is at the core of our problem. And then, of course, an interesting question that came up was, how do you allocate money between the big congestion place of Honolulu and the outer islands, that they have their different needs. And this problem can be solved, number one, by creating special clean indicators for congestion and safety. And the outer islands have significant congestion and safety problems, so they will get their fair share of problems. And number two is by creating projects that they are not funded by taxes, which every one of us pays, but they are taxed, they are tolled, so the user pays. Therefore, if somebody wants to use a project to solve his or her congestion in their neck of the woods, they pay for the projects and not everybody else has to pay for it. So it's a more fair and equitable way of addressing congestion. Fantastic. It was 3 days of fantastic exchange of academic and practical ideas about solving traffic congestion in our states.
Lots of projects don't really lend themselves to toll financing, so you have to pick and choose. On the other hand, building additional capacity in the freeway system, which is one place you really, really need it, does generally lend itself, not always to 100% toll financing, but if you can pay half or 2/3 of the cost of $1 billion project that adds capacity to the freeways out of a brand new source that's voluntary, that's only paid by people who choose to use it because they personally decide, often on a day-by-day basis, is it worth it today to pay $3 to bypass that horrible congestion on the freeway because what I need to do right now is worth it to me. I'd rather pay the $3 than spend an extra 20 minutes stuck in that awful congestion.
In today's session, and I'm so sorry we didn't tape it for Lelo, we got the notes, but those folks helped us start putting some dollar figures of what it means to have congestion. Mark here mentioned, every time there is a parade, one parade costs his company $10,000 in longer sorties for his buses to go around. John mentioned that every time that one of his pickup trucks goes for an asphalt job and all, and it stays for 1 hour in traffic, that worker and the truck is $100 of absolutely non-productive work, but it bills you in government because that guy is stuck and tries to get to the project.
Very high positive in the South, because they know they're not going to pay for a toll road.
Right.
If you guys up there want a big wide road, you pay for it. And this means I don't have it.
But there's actually also, the Transportation Research Board put out a report about a year ago that I served on the advisory body for, that looked at 10 years of public opinion surveys about transportation funding. And, they were all over the map and all over the different places, but some generalizations came out of that are very important. If you ask voters in most places the question, all right, we have a need for, let's say, more highway capacity and so forth, and we don't have the money, so here are the alternatives. Give them a list of things. Increase the gas tax, increase the sales tax, do this, do that, or charge tolls to pay for the new capacity. Overwhelmingly, tolls to pay for the new capacity comes out at the top of the list. this is very, very well understood now, and I think the reason is pretty obvious. All of the other mechanisms, the only thing that people can be sure of is that they're going to pay more, but they're not at all confident that they're going to get anything back that improves their personal transportation. Whereas with the tolls, it's exactly the opposite. They know they're only going to pay if somebody builds a project that improves their personal transportation, and once they try it, they decide that the benefits they get from using it are worth more than the price of the toll. So it's completely the opposite of any of the tax alternatives.